Welcome to the official Topic Talk. Please like, share and subscribe.
Audio Jungle.
I have to ask you a question, mate, right? Is it right all these years on YouTube, even a year on YouTube, that people are still talking about Dickie Hickey?
I think yes. I mean, because he's got a new channel up now. He's not using his old channel where he had 30k plus subscribers, and he's opened up a new mental health channel, and he's got near enough 10k subs. And the reason why I think it's good that people still need to get that message out there, even though there's so much been out in the domain over the past, say, 3 years. There's new subscribers on his channel that possibly haven't come across from his old channel, which they would not have heard or seen any of the evidence that's out there in regards to the said person. So yes, I do believe that it should be carried on repeating because of these new subs that he's got. They need to be told and need to be seen what's out there about this guy. Is it doing good? Yes, it is, because these new subscribers that he's got, they haven't got a clue who he is or his background because they've seen a mental health channel open, subscribe to it because they could even be possible future victims of these. So yeah, I'm a strong believer that the word still needs to be get to these 10k people that are subscribed to his channel for that reason.
Mate, I just have to say this, right? I understand people's views and opinions that it's boring to watch, and I made a wee video for my own channel there. But really, mate, look, see if it wasn't for certain channels, right? For instance, Karma Corner, right? Absolutely trolled the bag out of me, right? If I had been a weaker-minded person, God knows, I didn't actually give a fuck at the time, to be honest with you. I laughed at it. It hurt me. It hurt me for about 3 seconds, and then I was like, "Oh fuck, it's all right." But I have to say, if it wasn't for that channel, I wouldn't have been made aware of what I was dealing with. And because of that channel, I watched and I researched other channels, because whenever I was watching Karma Corner, Karma would talk about this channel, that channel, this channel. I was like, "Oh, what's that channel?" So we'd go and watch. And then there was a few of them I knew, not that they were talking bullshit, but there was a few people just sort of adding things, in my opinion, just to make it more dramatic. But then there was a few channels releasing voice recordings that are undeniable. Yeah. And I was like, wow, why did I not know about this? I was silly for not researching this before the fucking podcast. What a plum in the cap I am. Right?
Body in the bog.
Plum in the fucking bog, right? Body in the bog here and plum in the cap here, right? Now, we're joking now, right? Obviously, I'm not a plum in the cap. I'm not a fucking silly man.
No.
Obviously, you're not a body in the bog state. You're sitting here right in front of me right now. But you just imagine the new subscriber base that's came onto his mental health. He's not talking about podcasts anymore. It's a mental health channel, and it's gaining traction because of who he is. So just say 3/4 of his subs know who he is. Just say 1/4 of them are subscribed just for the drama, right? And they don't care the fact that he possibly could be a narcissistic, sociopathic predator. But 1/4 of them are on there not knowing who the fuck he is, and they're just seeing all these different channels talk and say, "I know they're trolls. They're trolls." I get people come. Steve, I had a guy come onto my channel call me a troll. He says, "You're a troll," and I was like, "Are you actually serious right now? You shouldn't be talking about that. I seen you talking on another live. You are a troll, holding official." I mean, I am no troll.
No.
I want this person to be innocent. I wanted to be able to turn around to Karma Corner and say, "Fuck you, Karma Corner.
You,
There's
you was
the
probably
evidence.
you was probably one of the only ones that wanted him to be innocent in all this.
Yeah, I wanted the man to be innocent for the simple reason is because then there's no victims. But then I went, oh shit, asked him for the subject access, didn't come out. He basically just stopped talking to me, right? So and then went on to show a police certificate and a charge sheet. So there's something to it. There's something to it, right? We're going to agree on that. Anybody with half a brain cell knows that, right? And if you don't, then you don't know the situation, or you're probably like that yourself. But you just imagine a quarter of those subscribers not knowing he's a big bare knuckle boxer, good looking chap. A lot of women, a lot of women with kids watch that. Now imagine in 15 years' time if the Karma Corners or whoever just stop talking about this, and in 15 years' time, when all these other channels are gone, and I agree with the channels that it does get boring. They listen to you all the time. I agree with them on that. But you just imagine in 15 years' time, you find out there's been a trail of destruction in regards to women, kids, or God knows what.
That's why I take my hat off. I might not see eye to eye with him, but I take my hat off to him, and that's to Dodgy Dave's twin. He's put one day a week by where he's getting people onto the panel, and they're openly spreading that word continuously. Because, like you just mentioned, Ronan, he's got new subscribers. Now, because of it being based around a mental health channel, there's going to be vulnerable people watching that. Now, the reason why you got the likes of Karma Corner, that's so passionate, and Dodgy Dave is so passionate, is because of that reason. Them new people haven't had the chance maybe to see or hear the evidence out there against them. So we need the likes of Karma and Dodgy Dave to continue doing this, because it's actually getting the word out there at the time it needs to be done, because of these new subscribers that don't know the history.
Listen, I'm old school, so I'm always going to be more on the side of Karma Corner. I've watched Karma Corner, he's a bit of crack and all the rest. Do you know what I mean? That's back in the day, but when I say back in the day, it's only a couple of months ago. But you know what I mean? Like it's before, it was last year anyway. So I'm sort of, I would not a lot of people hate on Karma Corner. Do you know what I mean? Not a lot of people hate on the man. I know the man's actually dealt with a lot of mental health issues himself. When it comes to Dodgy Dave, for what he's done, so he's brought out, or sorry, alleged. I don't even know what way the fuck he's saying. I'm going to say allegedly just to see the face here, right? Because I don't know, but allegedly brought out he did bring out the subject access request. Now, what was really key about that is, right, and this isn't me being a Dodgy Dave lover. I'm not. Listen, I don't really speak to anybody on that side of YouTube. I've actually told most of those people I want fuck all to do with it, right? I just don't mind speaking with you about it, because me and you aren't involved in taking people down, or we just know what we know, and we just speak about it, and that's what we want to do. We'll speak about a whole lot of different situations, not just this. But what was key about that whole situation is that once that was brought out, the only way you could legitimize that, whether it's fake or real, was if Dickie himself got Dodgy Dave done for that. Because if Dodgy Dave was done for that, then he would either be done for two things, one of two things: obtaining a subject access request via legal means, which means it's legitimized and real, or fraudulently making a subject access request to cause harm or dupe the public. I don't know. I just made that up, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's a third thing that legitimizes that, and that is if Dickie himself doesn't get Dodgy Dave arrested. And the fact that I don't think he did get him arrested for that, did he?
I think about a week later, I do believe that Dave got pulled in.
But it wasn't for the subject access request.
I'm not sure. It was. I'm sure he. I'm not even sure if he did mention that, but he might have mentioned it. I'd have to look back on some of his videos. But let's say, for argument's sake, that he got pulled in because of that. fraudulently obtaining the acro legitimately from the acro office. Now, that would prove A, it's legit, and B, people should listen to that. Now, the other side, if the person wants to defend himself and prove it wrong, is to produce his acro and match it against each. But I'm sure as hell, if Decker was to produce that, it would fucking match. I'd say 100% it would match.
Well, the thing about it is, right?
He's got nothing to lose now. He's out there in the public domain. So
I don't watch any of these channels. I might click on to maybe Dodgy Dave now and again, or Humble, or Fighting Irish, or Buggies, or maybe when I've got a bit of free time. But I don't have a lot of free time because I'm shooting lots of podcasts. We're talking about a lot of different scenarios. Believe it or not, this subject's like at the bottom of the pile. But I think and forgive me if I'm wrong because I don't know, because I don't watch these channels a lot. The fact that hasn't been brought out, or he hasn't went, oh, hold on, you brought out a subject access request about me. Well, here's my real one that proves that that's fraudulent, or the fact that he didn't get him arrested for that and say, look, he was charged for fraudulently making a subject access request. That would solidify it. But the fact that now that actually, the fact that
I mean, I do believe it's a legitimate document that was obtained fraudulently.
Yeah, it's absolutely mental. And the thing about it is, right, see if anybody's asked for a subject access request and they fuck about and they worm their way out of showing it, there's question marks. You don't get involved with people like that. You don't get involved with people like that, because if somebody comes, if Steve, me and you do a lot of these podcasts together, right? If you came to me and says, Ronan, I want to see your subject access request, I will, after this, ask for your email, so people don't realize how a subject access request works. So Steve asks me, Ronan, I want to see your subject access request. I say, okay, it's free. It doesn't cost you any money. It's not the police certificate or charge sheet, right? You pay like 90 to 60 pounds for the police certificate, whatever it is. And I will take Steve's email, and whenever I'm filling out the form online for the subject access request, it asks you, do you want this sent to an email, or I think it's a third party email? Forgive me about the wording of that, but it asks you.
See, if I was to apply for a fresh one, even though I applied for one in January, and I because of the reason I knew that I would be doing, maybe a bit of work with you in the future with podcasting. I sent my copy across to you by photo. When I applied for mine, you can have it sent to a third party, like i.e., I could have it directly sent to your email, or I could have it as an email copy, which on mine at that time in January, I opted for the paper version to be delivered to me. I didn't ask for an email version of it. But
yeah.
But I can tomorrow say, Ronan, look, I know that I've shown you like photographs of my paper. We're going to be doing a lot of work in the future. I just want to rest your mind. I'll reapply for my acro tomorrow. Give me your email, and I'll have it directly sent to your email, and I'll have a paper copy.
Or not even just that. For instance, if I'm doing
it 3 ways.
If I'm doing it online for people to see, what I would do is I would take your email, put it into the where I'm filling out the form online. You will get a raw copy of that without me touching it. I will receive a copy of that. So then you've got a copy and I've got a copy, an online copy, and you can share that to the screen and that's an untouched copy from me. And you can also do that via, I think you can get the paper form too. You can send that to a third party also. So this is what I'm trying to say. This is how it's done the legitimate way. And I done this for Nick Williams. Nick Williams, some dickhead, brought out an article about a Nicholas Williams who lived in Salford. Now, Nick Williams, the one that I speak to, he's he's like an eccentric sort of London accent. He's not from Salford, like, and I give him my email, and I was sent a raw copy of that. I was sent a raw copy of that, and I shared that.
So you mean that it was sent from the Echo office direct to your email?
Direct to me without him touching it.
Yeah.
So
that's how it should be done, Ronan, if you ask me. You know, to prove beyond reasonable doubt, you know, that is the way forward. If anybody needs to apply for their ACRO or to prove their innocence on any subject or to prove they're not a dodgy one, that's the way forward. Just get it sent over to the third party direct, because no one can accuse anyone, you know, of doing this or doing that to it.
If anybody says to me, "No, I don't want it done that way," there's question marks straight away.
You've got to ask yourself why.
Yeah, question marks straight away. And this is the thing, guys. I'm going to actually say this here. We've talked about this before. Steve was the one. He came to me and says, "Oh, a certain individual can't produce an enhanced DBS because they can't prove they're going to be around a vulnerable person or a child within 30 days to get that paperwork. Ask him for the subject access request ACRO." You didn't say subject access request, you said ACRO. And then you showed me yours on a WhatsApp video call. And you showed me what it looked like. So whenever I went on the screen like 45 minutes later, at least I brought something to the table. But essentially what the ACRO is you're proving your innocence, that you've never been accused, you've never been convicted,
maybe back then I should have said to you it's a subject access request and not just an ACRO, but it kind of gave you the gist of what you should be looking at, you know, in terms of what he's going to produce to you, you know, which now you know for sure he didn't show anybody a subject access request. He showed them something that he paid money for that was useless because it's just a certificate to get you in another country.
Yeah, and the thing about it is people say, well, why isn't that good enough? Well, in this scenario, it's not good enough was because a certain individual has been asked and has denied and then acknowledged. So people don't realise he's the
thing that gets me, though, Ronan, you was the only one that put it on his toes. If I remember rightly, you was the only podcaster that put that to him directly, straight to his face, about the ACRO. I didn't see any other podcasters at that time putting it to him direct as what you did, plain and clear.
Well, the thing about it is, I got very conspiratorial over that because I thought to myself,
because somebody that didn't know what it was, and you put it directly on his toes, bang there and then.
He said on the podcast, I asked him, "Do you know what that is?" And he says, "I've never heard of it." Now, did he know about it and did he know that there was two forms? There was the police certificate and the subject access request. And then he
knew. He was just trying to pull the wool over somebody's eyes by wanting to produce. For me to prove my innocence, I can do it for free, right? So why would I pay 90 quid to get something that ain't going to prove my innocence?
But there's a lot of people
who just wasted his money.
There's a lot of people out there that don't understand that situation, and this is what I'm trying to say. This is the whole point of this clip that we're making here. Is that there's a lot of people out there that don't understand. So for the people like me that do understand, okay. But for the new people that are coming on here that don't understand, that could be vulnerable, a woman, a child, a man, then people need to be made aware of that. And for that reason, I'm not going to lie to you, Steve.
I agree with you. This should continue.
Like, I'm not going to lie to you. I understand where people were coming from, because I thought to myself, well, the whole of the UK and Ireland must know about this. But then whenever the channel was took down and the new channel was created, it was like, wow, look at these comments. These people don't know what they're dealing with here. And then, because I was watching stuff and there was still stuff being made. And the thing about it is, his name doesn't generate that many views anymore. So he's not big in the algorithm. So I have to say this too, right? A lot of people accused people of building their channels off the back of him, right? He even accused me himself. And listen, to be honest with you, fuck you, mate. Do you know what I mean? And then, what are you talking about? You fucking rocket, you. Do you know what I mean? Accusing me of building the channel off the back of you. You know, I barely fucking spoke about you, like, but I just asked you a question, and now you know, a fucking total narcissist, like. But regardless of that, right? I, it's true. It and the views, mate. That's what the whole point is. The views aren't the same anymore. I remember I dropped the video. Whenever I dropped the video, it was about a certain girl, an autistic girl that was. I'm not going to say her name, and in regards to that whole situation, right? And I have an autistic son, and that's when I went, "What the fuck's going on here?" So I made a video. It was a very short video, and I says, "Look, mate, you told me that this person was high functioning, no learning difficulties, but I've just seen a video and this person clearly has some type of a learning difficulty, and you can tell that this person has autism." And I made a video sort of saying that, and that video got like 5,000 views. Now, if I made that same video today, that's probably getting about 350 views. It's not getting a lot of views. So it's not a benefit to talk about this guy because he actually doesn't bring in the views anymore. His own channel, he might get the highest views he'll get is like 4,000 views on a video. So the algorithm isn't favored with him anymore. So there's no benefit to actually talk about this guy. So for the people that are actually still talking about him, I mean, they're not benefiting from it much. All they're really doing is
they're doing it simply to create awareness for these new 10,000 subs that think that they've subscribed to a channel which will help them with mental health. You know, which he knew what he was doing. You know, because people that are persistent predators, they know exactly how to play that game. Now, Karma and Dodgy Dave, you know, they need the credit because they're still stuck in it now because they know themselves how many victims can be in the future if they were to carry on spreading the word to that 10k people that don't know his history or what he is.
Do you not think Dodgy Dave should have choose his name a bit more wisely?
Yeah, I can agree with you there. I mean, looking at that, you'd think, the guy's a joker. You know, simply by the name. Now, if he was to have opened a channel name, that probably would have sounded a bit more professional. And take that, and I think it's quite amusing him wearing the mask. You know, it really makes me laugh. But you know, these little things people pick up on. Like the supporters of Decker are looking at that and saying, "Oh, look, he's wearing a mask. Oh, his name's Dodgy Dave. Oh, we can't believe any of this." Now, this is where I was saying before that 1% where they've added extra bits into it. That's given leeway for these people to be able to support him. So the whole approach to it could have been done a bit different, you know. But I still give them all the credit that they're due. Because they're still getting that word out there to these 10k subscribers, like you said and I've said, they haven't heard about what he is.
Yeah, another thing too, a little bit of hypocrisy, I'm going to call out here a little bit, is that what I'm finding is a lot of people are saying that they're using Dickie for views, and I know on the Dodgy Dave side of things that it does generate lots of views because people want to tune in to hear what he has to say because he's so mysterious and he's like this fucking guy that can do things. And he's like he's like the, I don't know, he's like the, I don't know what you call. He's just a mad cunt, right? I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. Dodgy Dave's a mad cunt, right? Simple as, right? Most Scousers are anyway, like they're mad cunts. I know actually, does Dave comes from? He comes from Birkenhead, doesn't he? But he's a Scouser, isn't he? He's a Scouser. You still call that a Scouser. But the fact that other people talk about other people on channels and destroy other people on channels and talk about other channels for views, and there's no real meaning to it. It doesn't really go anywhere. They're just maybe they'll just destroy somebody because I don't know, they said something on a live once. But the fact there's a little bit of meaning to this, that it actually we're talking about an alleged narcissistic, sociopathic predator once in a lifetime, and there's meaning to this. It's a little bit different. But everybody's opinion is welcome. I'm not sitting here saying that oh, you should be wrong for having an opinion. But at the end of the day, we don't want, as I say, we don't want to be looking back in 15 years' time and say, "Fuck, we could have done something about that. We
See, the
knew
thing is,
about,
for me,
we
it
knew
don't
about
matter.
that."
It don't matter a damn to me what anybody looks like or what they're wearing while they're making this awareness out there. There's four people, that the credit needs to be pushed on, and they need the credit for what they're doing, and that's you got motorsport buggy, big you up, sir. You stack at this thick and thin, and you're getting that message out there to these 10,000 people that don't know what he is. You've got Karma Corner, massive respect, Karma Corner, doing exactly the same job, the same denominator. You've got Dodgy Dave. It don't matter what you wear, what you look like. The message is getting pushed out there. So that's a big up there. And then you got Humble Dryer. Massive respect and big up to Humble Dryer. These are the names that are keeping the awareness out there. And one day each of them 10k subs, that haven't heard anything, they would have heard about it, whether it takes 6 months or 6 years. They're always going to be there doing exactly the same job, which is to spread this awareness. He knew exactly what he was doing when he opened up a channel to bring it as mental health.
Well, look, at the end of the day, right, I understand why people hate on other people. They have an opinion, and that's just their opinion. It should be respected, right? Because at the end of the day, it's YouTube. Everybody's got an opinion, right? Everybody's got a fucking arsehole. Everybody's got an opinion, right? And that's fine. I'm not getting at anybody for it. Fair play. You know what? You have your opinion. You have your opinion. But at the end of the day, a fact is a fact, and the fact that remains. Allegedly, we're dealing with a narcissistic sociopathic predator, and if that's the case, then there's massive substance to this, which then would lead you to believe if that narcissistic sociopathic predator has started a new channel that's drawn in people that don't know about him, that could potentially be future victims, and then there's nobody bringing awareness to this, then what do you do?
Well, I mean, if they gave up tomorrow, then all that hard work that they've worked for will be for nothing. Because, like you say, there's going to be victims in the very near future.
But I said this, Steve. I said this. I'm sorry to cut you off there, but I said this here. Unfortunately, this is going to be the only way, right? See, for people to realize what possibly is going on here is for something else to happen. And I don't want that. I would rather it just stay like this and for nobody to get hurt. But for somebody, it's going to take something else to happen for people to realize and go, fuck, what have we done?
See, this is the sad thing, though, about that.
Yeah, 100%, mate. It is. It's very, very fucking sad. And for me, yeah, I get that. But I have to say this here, right? I spoke to a lot of these guys, right? And it makes me feel very fucking uncomfortable. I used to I haven't spoke to buggies in a while, right? I speak to Fighting Irish, right? People have a lot of opinions about Fighting Irish. Fighting Irish has been nothing but a gentleman to me, right? Doesn't tread on my toes and I don't tread on his, and I never will, right? If people want to slag each other and make videos about each other, that's fine. I also speak to Humble. Humble told people, don't troll Holden official. It was official Let's Talk podcast at the time. Don't troll him because he'll come to his senses, which he did. Dodgy Dave's never had a bad experience with him. He's never done anything bad to me. And all the rest of them. Film Boy himself, who owns the cesspit, asked me to come on to the cesspit and respectfully asked me to come on to the cesspit. Decent lad, nice. I had to decline for my own reasons because there was certain people lying about me. And you know me, Steve, I just stay away from that shit. I don't want to get involved in any fucking dramas with people. I just stay away from it. If somebody lies about me, that's it. Fuck off. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't anything to do with Film Boy. I've got massive respect for Film Boy and his channel, and I like what he's doing. It's very entertaining. I watch some of the cesspit. Exposure TV used to come onto my lives back in the day. I'm very happy for the success that Exposure TV is getting and the success that Film Boy's getting, and their opinions matter. But I have to disagree with their assessment and their opinion that it's wrong to keep talking about this, because if you don't, then you're putting people in danger. That's where I draw the line, and that's my opinion. But if they disagree with me and they think there's a better way of doing it, fine. Maybe they should open their ideas and talk to people and have a live panel, and everybody should talk about it. For me, I just like doing this here with you, Stephen, talking about it. I don't want to be.
See,
it makes me very uneasy.
I mean, that's the same with me, Ronan. I mean, I could sit here and talk to yourself about it, you know, because we're not on any narrative. You know, we're just two individuals, you know, that are creating our own unique content. And then every now and again, we're going to chuck it into the mix because, to be honest with you, he brought us into this mess, you know, with his lies, his deceit, and his manipulation. So a year down the line, we've got the right to reply.
Fuck him, he didn't treat me with respect. He didn't treat me with. He was a gentleman whenever I was speaking to him. I have to admit that he was an absolute gentleman, right? But is that manipulation? I don't know. But there's a couple of scenarios. I'm going to ask you a question here. But fuck him, Steve, because at the end of the day, he didn't treat me with a lot of respect anyway. After the fact,
none of us even gotten an apology for him lying to us.
Yeah, I don't even want an apology. I wouldn't even want to speak to him, to be honest with you.
But I'm saying, as individuals, you know, we're going down our own route now. We're not getting drawn into any dramas in the world of YouTube because we're too busy with our home life, or we've created our own unique content.
Well, look. At the end of the day, I'm doing what I'm doing. I love what I do. I might not get thousands of views. For me, it's a 7-year plan. I could come on now, Steve, start a panel, have you on it, have 6 people on it, start fucking beefing with people, and have 250 people tuned in for that. Everybody loves to see that shit, but I would rather do it a 7-year plan. Within 3 or 4 years, have a podcast and have 150, 200 people tune in for a pre-recorded podcast to do with something with substance, like, I don't know, fucking Atlantis or somebody's life story. That's what my goal is, right?
Yeah.
But I also like to do these here ones too, talking to you about different topics. I'm going to ask you a question, and this has went through my head, right? Do you think it's possible, right, that he has? By the way, this is just me speaking hypothetically here, right? That he has a clean subject access. He's done this for controversy. And one day he's just going to pop it out and go, haha, there you go. Or he's going to send it to somebody and go, there you go. I've just done this.
The reason I say no is because his All or Nothing podcast for 30k subscribers was his baby, if you want to say that, as a channel, because how he's built it up. Now, don't you think when it got fucking striked so many times, I don't know if it was Moto or whether it was Dodgy Dave that struck it down. That would have been the time that he would have produced that then. To say, look, I've got a clean acro. You know, because that made him cry when he was losing that channel.
Yeah.
You know, and that would have been the point for that then to be sprung on the table. Wow, look, everyone, it's clean. So
if you're dealing with a narcissist, though, Steve, that knows how to work algorithms, because I'll tell you one thing. Listen, I have to say this. I will never release text messages from anybody that I'm speaking to, even my enemies, even Dickie himself, for the simple reason is integrity means a lot for me. And anybody that comes to my channel says that to me. They say, look, we've watched you, we know you have integrity, and you're not like the rest of them, and you wouldn't sink somebody just for. And listen, if it was going to save a person's life, obviously it would release messages. But the fact that it would mean nothing, I would just be doing it for the views, I'm not going to do it, right? But I think to myself sometimes I look at this situation and go, this guy clearly is at the very least a narcissist, right? A narcissistic sociopath. So he doesn't have the normal feelings and emotions as what we would have, and he mimics people, like the whole mental health thing. He probably watched.
Actually, before it leaves my mind, I don't know if you remember, but he even said for the wrongdoings that he's done in his life that he'd like to get a beating because he looked at that as a punishment for these crimes that he had done. He said that on a video, admitting basically that he likes going in all these fights to get all smacked about. That's pleasure to him because of the wrongdoings that he knows he's done.
Well, the real not there's no redemption in what he's allegedly done. There's no redemption in that. There's nobody going to accept that and say, right, you're going to become a better person. It's not a bank robber or somebody that used to beat people up. It's not even like somebody that's punched somebody in, or even a murderer, somebody that's went out and premeditated murder, right? It's You're talking about the most sickest, heinous crimes being accused of ever. Do you know what I mean? So for damage limitation to come out and say, I was this person. Now, I don't think you're ever going to be a was. That's who you are. The only way to cure that, in my opinion, is just to get the lad chopped off you. And willingly.
To me, Ronan, from history of what I've seen on films and TV documentaries, there is no cure for it. I mean, people who have physically done these hideous crimes to children have even said themselves that there is no cure. It's always going to be lived inside them.
But he's not so much accused of the whole kid thing. It's more to do with women, isn't it?
I mean, women as well. I mean, that'll go for the same thing.
Just get the.
That's maybe where that saying comes in. The leopard will never change its spots.
Just get the crown jewels chopped clean off, the bollocks, the stuff that's throwing that testosterone into you, that's driving your brain.
And then you guarantee by castrating them, you're guaranteed then that females aren't going to be hurt again. For the rest
possibly, like, you don't know if it's a fucking mental condition where they're just like red mist and they just go for broke, like. But I mean, it would be a start. If I was having those feelings and I was doing that shit and I was thinking that way, I heard of a story once, right? In my area, a guy went crazy, right? And he thought that he was a predator. He thought that he had harmed somebody in his early life. But it turned out this guy had dementia or something. He had Alzheimer's, something wrong with his brains. And he was found on a beach smashing his testicles off a rock and ripped them off. And this guy didn't do anything. So the average person that has empathy and feelings and wouldn't do that to anybody, never a woman, a child, a man, it doesn't matter, a dog, an animal, fucking anything, right? They are so sickened that they would do that. Let's talk fact here, Steve, right? We're both men, right? We both like women, right? We both like beautiful women, right? I can say that categorically. I haven't spoken to Steve about any of this, but we like beautiful women.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, but there's a key word there, women. But for this whole scene, and even I'm researching it a wee bit, even in the BDSM scene, there's trigger words like banana and everything stops, because it's the point of this shouldn't happen. There is consent, but some people aren't like that. They actually love the fact that there isn't consent, and that drives them on, and then it manifests, and then that gets worse, and they need to do something else, so it moves on to kids, or it moves on to fucking, and it's a whole seedy, dark world. And man, I'm telling you, I'm so fucking happy and so glad that I wasn't born a dirty, rotten fucking wrong like that. Because that's what that is.
Amen to that one.
Look, I'm so happy
because see the other thing I'm gonna mention now. Through the hard work of these guys that are continuing to get the message out there about what he is, I think he's even feeling it himself, because I'm sure he done a video the other day saying that he knows he's going to be a loner for the rest of his life, because these good people that are getting the word out there have destroyed his life. So even he admits, that it's affecting him, and so it should.
Well, his subscriptions not go then? Okay, then we'll believe you though, Dickie, but why don't you not just show your subject access? Send it to one of us, Dickie. Send it to one of us, or your true supporters that you speak to on Instagram or whatever, and we'll just clear this whole matter up. Like that's
but that was tried, weren't it? When he was meant to have gone down the hospital, weren't he? He was meant to have met up with certain people.
I had a guy on though.
These outside people to view it, but
I should clip that. I should clip that for people to see, because a lot of people were outed as absolute fucking lying cunts. about that, because I had a photographer come on my channel. I was doing a live one night and he came on and he was like, by the way, see, everybody said that they were there at a certain time. They're all lying. And I says, how do you know that? He says, because I'm a photographer. And if I look at a picture, I can tell by a shadow what time that is. And he says,
Yeah.
I looked at everybody's shadow and the times that everybody says, including Dickie and his dad, the times that they said that were there and the other people that were supposed to meet him, they're all lying cunts, because they didn't show up at that time, because I can tell by the shadow, pardon me, the exact time that they were supposed to be there. That's why I don't trust anybody, mate. I don't trust anybody in this scenario. I don't trust Dickie. I don't trust anybody, because I know there's fucking mad shit going on across the whole shit, and I have to take people at face value in what they do. As I say, Humble's never fucked me over. I speak to Fighting Irish. Him and Fighting Irish hate each other. Fighting Irish has never fucked me over. Do you know what I mean?
So I must admit, I'll be honest with you, I've never actually really looked at the cesspit. I've never actually watched any of his work or videos or
I mean, he's entertaining as fuck. You should listen. The Cesspit is one of the most entertaining channels out there. It's like you've got Exposure TV and you've got the Cesspit, and they're two juggernauts that bring in all these live views. They've got a really heavy, strong fan base that tune in, and I'm one of them. I'm subscribed to the Cesspit and Exposure TV. I'm one of their subscribers. I love watching both their channels.
See, there is another channel out there. I mean, I maybe got off on the bad foot towards the back end of last year. But since I've produced my new work, he's come to, believe in me that I am staying away from all of this and producing my own good work. And he's very, very passionate about this subject. Is Bobby, the honest truth.
Bobby's all right, doesn't he? Bobby's a bit of crack.
Very passionate about this subject.
But Bobby, I have to say this though. I'm going to be honest with you. Right? I don't slate anybody. I would never slate Bobby, because he's been nothing but a fucking gentleman to me. Like, and I love his channel. But do you know what I like Bobby doing? See the wee live he done last night. That's what I like Bobby doing, talking about other shit, because there's some people that are dive deep into this, and I know Bobby's the middleman that you go to if you want an acro or a subject access request or something sent to. He's a very trustworthy cat, and he is. But Bobby's been through a lot with all this shit, and I find like myself, I can self sort of regulate myself and say, no, I need to get out of this. I need to get out of this here, because every time I got involved with somebody on YouTube, they were wrong and something came out about them. So for Bobby, it's the same. He needs to go, well, hold on. What's good for my mental health here? What's good for moving on in the future? What I can do here
that's what I done last night. I mean, I enjoyed that because, we was all talking about different subjects within the news, or and that was a good show to go on.
And there was 50 people tuned in to see that. So he's going to be in the algorithm. If he stops talking, not saying he should stop talking. He can do whatever he wants. He's a fucking grown man. Like, but if he wants to do some branch into different things, because he talked about that himself, just title the thing different. Like, you can still say, I fucking hate this shit, and then what you're talking about is the fucking fact that the Americans are invading Iran because they dropped the dollar. Do you know what I mean? Something
It's between him, Steve Rafe, and Video Craig. Where I went on to Steve Rafe's channel, and they gave me some very sound and good advice. And I took it on board. And like I said to the people, give me some time, to prove myself, and you will see the better side of me coming out without me getting involved in any of this drama. But every now and again, once every 3 months or so, it's been a year since me and you have really spoke about this subject.
Yeah.
So it's good to get our point of view on our thoughts about it now, looking from the outside.
But the thing about it is, Steve, if we had a lot to talk about, it means we were in it a lot more than what we're telling people. But the fact is, I can round this up in a couple of seconds. I came onto YouTube, thought a guy was being trolled, put out a message of support. He contacted me. I backed him for a while, asked him for a subject access request. He didn't show one. There you go. That's it.
That was
That's
the same as me, except the ending was when I listened to the phone call, you know, between him and his mum, and then that's it. I went, well, I'm getting the fuck out of this one.
You did say to me, and this, people kept coming to me and saying, "Oh, Steve Clark, you know, he's fucking doing this and he's doing that." And I listen, I'm not saying you didn't, right? I'm sure you were a cunt, right? I'm sure you were a bit of a cunt here and there, right? But what I am saying is that you were telling me different behind the scenes, which I couldn't say here because you, for some reason, you know, you were still in two minds whether this was a trolling campaign or not. And I says, look, mate, I'm going to be honest with you. And this was before Christmas. I says to you, look, mate, this is looking dicey here. Like, do you know what I
It
mean?
was
You
about
know,
October, weren't it? October last year-ish, if I
you
remember.
sent me that link. Like, you sent me that link, and I listened to it, and I went, "I mate, there's like, I mean, he's practically admitting to it there on the fucking on the voice recording." Like, but then all you get is, "Oh, it's doctored, it's doctored, it's doctored," and it's like, "Oh, well, how can you compete with that? How can you compete with that when there's clear fucking evidence in your face, and they just go, it's doctored evidence?" It's like, right, okay, okay,
That's what absolutely done it for me when I behind the scenes phoned you, you know, to ask you your thoughts on that. I knew once I'd viewed and listened to that phone call, you know, that, you know, everything that he had done, manipulating me, lying to me, telling me they're all trolls, you know, all that came crashing down, and my eyes opened. You know, I saw then, you know, what the truth was. But I know I had to talk with you behind the scenes about that because I
yeah,
asked what you thought your opinion was, and then when you watched it, that was it for me. That was when I knew what the truth was. You know, from that moment. I think it was the back end of October, if I remember rightly. And then it's a case of me just to pull away from it all. Then
yeah,
I went quiet. Um, and then when I thought the time was right, I came back, you know, to do the work that I want to create, and that's what's led me like to today.
yeah, definitely, 100%, man.